I will admit I have previewed the lyrics ahead of covering the track in terms of enjoying it with you in a simultaneous first exposure, so I'm familiar with the narrative of the piece, and I'm really curious. I mean, that's what kind of piqued my interest, right? What is the last home reference? I'm still trying to ascertain an idea for what exactly is spoken of. Maybe the video will key in on it, but at least on poetic and emotional storytelling, it's a sweet piece. I can't wait to experience it with you in terms of a full vision, right? Because lyrics are one thing, and the storytelling on part of Visions of Atlantis credits has been quite welcome. But it's the music that really sells it for me on delivery. As, you know, generally that's always the case, right? You have to have a good narrative perhaps mixed with the tune that is sophisticated and adept at delivery. And in the European rock and metal foray, as many of you know, I cannot get enough of that space because it's just so well-roundedly good, and it always impresses. With so many names that you've recommended to me that maybe I've yet to get to, are names that have graced this channel in terms of me fulfilling my ambition of years-long standing of showcasing music at a greater depth, right? It is the first love of my life as an artistic language. I love being able to experience it with you. From whatever approach we take, right? I love the fact that we approach from a variety of respects, where maybe sometimes that's where I sit with certain artists I cover, right? Maybe a couple names are familiarized to me of long year-standing enjoyment, or maybe others are fresh entrances. Notably, many of the European rock regard, with some few exceptions, they happen to be in that territory where Visions of Atlantis once sat. But I'm familiarized now, at least by three of their works. I've been introduced, and it's been a fun journey, I'm sure, for all of you who have been fans of the group for much longer than me, obviously, that made them such a mainstay presence in terms of the comment sections. And maybe there's those of you that approach this who have not yet entertained Visions of Atlantis. Maybe you discovered their name through me or for somebody else. I mean, I would imagine they've got pretty potent circulation based, again, on just their talents alone, and from what I've seen referenced other places on social media, because I have seen a couple postings of other European rock and metal fans going like, hey, this group is, you know, they're worth your attention. Many crediting the vocal talents of, understandably, Clementine. But maybe some of you, again, approach on a first-name basis, where I sat 3 numbers ago. If so, I welcome you, as well as I do longtime fans, but I hope, again, we approach on a variety of angles, and then we have a good experience together, right? Because music can offer that. Good art. I'd love to be able to showcase that, and there's not been one artist or song I've featured on this channel that I've not loved. Visions of Atlantis, I love symphonic metal with a power metal and melodic metal influence, for which maybe trade off and roles. Yes, I have seen that interplay, with different emphases put into certain songs, maybe others trade off, but just fun storytelling overall with engaging delivery on vocals. A great pairing too, by the way, between Clementine and Michel. It's a great association. Both blend quite well together. Clementine is a bit of well, I mean, they both have higher ranges. Clementine has a pretty high range, though, and we've heard maybe where her voice can trail into. I'm curious to see maybe if there's an evolution here, or if it maintains, again, that precision delivery of what she's offered us thus far in Free Encounterances together. But I'm really liking the ride so far. And this is, in fact, my first ever Austrian group to showcase on the channel, not just Austrian artists individually, right? There's been a couple, at least just in my own journeys, perhaps, or experience, or what I've showcased, for Sonda Panfili being one who's appeared in the channel before, Diane von Giersbergen. Hopefully she'll make an appearance pretty soon. I'm trying to work on that. I mean, there's, again, so many recommendations you throw my way, and slowly but surely, right, I like to accommodate your interest and curiosity in terms of the recommendations you do provide me, where, again, Visions of Atlantis once was, and I'm making good again on that promise to bring them on eventually, as I think I said I would, but it was my intention if I didn't declare that already. But they are the first ever Austrian group I've humored, and they're quite exquisite. Let's broaden out the journey. Summing up our run-through of The Deep in the Dark as an album, this is the conclusion to the selection I've picked, with more to come, right? We're back in 2018. I wanted to get a bit of a robust perspective, and a well-rounded one, so I dug back a bit. Plus, I like being able to do honor to the artists I spotlight by showcasing them in terms of the greatest share possible in a way that does accommodate my schedule, but gives me a good informed lens, right, to their creativity. For Visions of Atlantis, it was obviously deserved. We're going to happen upon more of their efforts from more modern standing and recent publication in the future. Near future, for sure. But let's listen right now to The Last Home, which we're going to keep the visualizer that accompanied, and as many of you know in terms of formatting, maybe some of you are introduced to my content on a first basis as well. Lyrics are provided directly in the video feed if you want to read along with the storytelling of the piece for yourself. That's an accommodation I do try and provide to the, whenever possible. But let's see for ourselves what The Last Home is speaking of. I mean, it's quite romanticized, again, in the articulation of the chorus sections especially. It's quite beautiful. It touches, and you'll see that manifest when you hear the song together, but to couple it with the mood of the song, I'm sure will add on to that effect. But let's see what she's speaking of. Maybe it'll be a bit broad application, right? Let's see. I was going to say, we're beginning on silence. Very interesting. Peaceful origin, though. Rushing water, okay. There's again like that seafaring type feeling that they evoke with the Atlantis intersection of the myth. Quite serene. Okay, piano opener. A lighter symphonic edge. This is dipping more, again, I would guess, into a ballad side. Maybe it could change. We'll see.
Here comes one of my sounds.
I like the key fluctuation a lot.
Pain tomorrow won't relieve. And I know
The set choices are beautiful.
time is set to heal.
And the wider aspect ratios, fun shifts, but it really, you take the environment in as you watch.
I'll keep on trying,
The lower hit on that note,
but I won't
good.
let you go.
Very well executed.
I'll keep you safe.
I like the drifts.
In a secret
Again, we return to the origin.
until I find my freedom. Goodbye, my friend.
I love how sharp the notes are.
You will
Just that extra emphasis, and you can hear it just somebody hitting the keyboard. It works. Adds into the effort again of that emotion that the pathos appeal of those chorus sections. It's just something I notice. Maybe some of you would agree.
time erased so much of what you were. Though I try to hide you deep, gone forever. What is left for me to keep? Joys that I cannot remember. I keep on calling. I want you to know.
As I said, the song would probably amplify the mood of the piece. It is. It's taking the romantic lines as they're told of such beautiful articulation and making them mean even more unfeeling.
Until I find my freedom.
I like the emboldened emphasis on the symphonic with the strings intrusion. That's good.
Love will never
The growth on the vocals.
end. You will never.
This is working for me.
I will try to carry on, to carry on. I will try to move on, to move on. I should try to let you go as you have before.
I wondered if we would get more of an aggressive interruption at some point. I could have seen it gone either way. I like how this serves as, I'm assuming, the finish.
Until I find my freedom. Goodbye, my friend. Love will never end. You will never my heart.
Oh, this is so sweet and sad. Tragic. Now I see exactly what it is, but or maybe what it speaks to. Although the song could have broad application in isolation for sure, but what the video is pointing to, at least on an intended story. Man, the visuals on that are great, aren't they? So beautiful. I love the navigation. The fact that it starts in that soft note, as I've seen, many songs do, right? There's that intended build. It doesn't start off of too much force, where they have in the past, right? This shows, again, this is a great example to see the expansive canvas of what many groups can play around with, but certainly to Visions of Atlantis' credit. It's not just in a rougher territory of maybe more of a power metal drive and a symphonic emphasis, or symphonic foundation, or the reverse. right? Where symphonic takes on a predominant presence, which is amplified by a more aggressive tone. Whether that be in the power metal vein or just, symphonic in general. To again illustrate that central metal presence, this is much more of a ballad, right? That's how it introduces itself with a piano striking. Again, I love the nuance to it. You heard those strikes on the keyboard, right? Just the hits on those notes, like more of a. I don't want to say it was. Well, maybe it was kind of a staccato, but it trails, right? But you can clearly hear the aggression, the impassioned. I'm shaking the camera, sorry, but the impassioned delivery when someone's like going bang, on the keyboard, right? I think back, years ago, as I said before, I'm a music connoisseur, not a musician by trade. Though when I was younger, I did spend about 5 years in piano lessons, so. I'm very familiar, right, with different types of moods. I've never really thought about that before, though. That song, we think, it's interesting to see how the sentimentality changes your perception even just on past experiences. Because I think back, I remember playing songs that would vary in terms of volume delivery, whether they would be intended to be more pianissimo or fortissimo, songs like that, right? That take on different types of tones. And I would just more so do as a song mandated, right, according to the original music and the composition. I never really thought much into how it amplifies mood. But it's interesting how I see it play around with this piece, right? You hear those note strikes, and it starts with just such an ethereal beauty, a delicacy, right? And you think, okay, this is more, like a soft, dream-like number, right? Reminiscing perhaps of old times. And again, it amplifies that romantic mood quite well in terms of manifesting a central vision of what Visions of Atlantis is clearly meaning to communicate. For the video's sake, but as well maybe speak to broadly, right? To appeal to subjective experience among different listeners, right? We've all lived different lives, we all have different types of stories. And this song, I could see explorations where it speaks to different things in the application process from viewer to viewer. Or listener, maybe more specifically. But the mood of his piece and how it shifts, again, I love that. The force, again, the fact that was, I believe, in the chorus sections, if memory serves me correct, great for, again, establishing that reminiscent mood amidst tragedy of life. As this song points to maybe the theme of death, right? Or of a loved one. In fact, I believe it, at least as far as I'm aware, that she's departing the remains, or the cremated remains of, I'm assuming, a passed on loved one, or maybe a family member, someone that was very dear to the woman in the video's hearts. I want to say Clementine, but just maybe say that she's playing a character, right? That is extremely relatable, just done with such a fantasy flair. It's an easily connected theme, but again, the amplification of those note strikes really speaks to that romanticized energy with such efficient delivery and articulation. I'll keep you safe in a sacred place until I find my freedom. Goodbye, my friend. Love will never end. You will live in my heart. I mean, it's straight to the point, but it's just beautiful, right? It just drives into you. It's a sweet song. Again, I love that type of construction it has where it starts again on the softer notes, right? And that ballad structure, but then amplifies towards the end, right? When you get that final crescendo where the amplification kicks in, that drifts off again, right? It returns back to where it started. So it feels like a cohesive number with a unified vision, told with a beautiful video, great location choices. Europe, as always, is just such a delight to humor, even just visually. It's not just on music. Their music videos were so stylized. It's so much fun. Another fabulous addition to the album. A great closure, too, to our journey with the deep and the dark to sum up the experience, right? A good flow. As I said, I want to get a bit of a robust perspective going back a bit and give this group, the showcase they deserve, right? As I do generally every artist I can, where managed. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on the piece, and from whatever angle you approach, as I always mention, longtime fan, fresh listener, I'd love to hear about it. I love seeing, again, the different types of application that we have with Visions of Atlantis. We have some rougher songs, we have some softer songs. We have some songs that kind of sit in the middle foray, right? There's been a couple that maybe, again, there's clear ranges set, at least to what I've found defined. And maybe we're going to see an expansion of that in future albums going forward, for sure, perhaps. I'll leave that door open, we'll happen upon, we'll see the accuracy of that statement in the future, right? But this piece takes on much more of, like, again, it goes to that softer extreme, but still balances, again, that Visions of Atlantis mood playing around of other types of feelings in the symphonic metal territory and different types of deliveries. It shows a deliberate finesse. Specifically, again, like in those piano strikes, that was just clearly something I extracted. It's just so beautiful to think of in reflection, and how it sits with the mood of the piece and how it amplifies it, how it works to the track's benefit. Told of exquisite storytelling, beautiful vocal delivery as always, just with Clementine in isolation. It's gorgeous. I love the piece. Quite endearing as all their music has been, and I cannot wait to hear more with you on the Visions of Atlantis route. I've enjoyed the path so far, this being another fabulous edition. I'm looking forward to hearing more from them, and more to come for sure. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.